My name is Brock Dethridge, and the topic or population that I chose is Hispanics in our workforce. The problem or issue really with this population is that they have the language barrier compared to everyone else in the United States workforce. Not only do and the cultural difference that they bring along with them. Some credible sources that I found very very useful for me. Not really in using to make my poster, but using them throughout the semester to kind of figure out more information on this, problem and our workforce and, the other issues that Hispanics, have to deal with whenever, day-to-day tasks, for their work. Is the Wall Street Journal, Forbes, Business Insider, and the U.S. Department of Labor shows some really good statistics and numbers, like the more of the numbers side of things. The population, is the Hispanics in our workforce. I chose this population because really where I'm from, the area is dominated by farms, and Hispanics make up roughly 75% of the workforce around there. Without this population, at home, the farmers would really take a major hurting. Pretty much everything done in the fields is done by Hispanics, and something I plan to take from this and learn from this as the people in our workforce is how they adjust, from work in Mexico to work here in the United States, and what are the differences there, and also become more informed of the cultural differences that they bring along with this transition. Some other things, I hope to grow in the understanding, working side by side with this particular group, of the workforce, at the local farms. I'm getting a degree in agriculture, so it's something that I'm really going to have to become comfortable with and learn how to handle different kinds of situations. The first picture here on the bottom of the population continued is actually a picture of several Hispanics working in North Carolina's tobacco fields, and working side by side one another and doing a lot of manual labor. A little bit about my immersion experience. Like I mentioned in my forum early in the semester, when I described my population that I chose, there wasn't really any specific event that I could go to, but like I said earlier, that where I'm from, a large number of farms, are dominated by Hispanic workers, and me volunteering for the farm and working, side by side with this population was really the best way to kind of get the information that I needed, and kind of figure out what the problem was and look for some ways to fix it. Um, so a little bit about the experience, the workers that I talked to, talked about how much nicer and safer everything felt here in the United States. And not only was the pay, a lot better, but things here were also more expensive. It was easier to raise a family. A lot of them mentioned about 25% of them said they felt that they looked down upon, and over half of them were worried about President-elect Trump and about what the future was going to look like for Hispanics in our country. Um, the majority, wanted to bring their families here from Mexico. They felt like this would be a great place to start a family and learn, bring their kids here and let them learn, the way that we do and how we've grown up. Um, Dagoberto was a guy that I met with and spoke. He spoke fluent English just like I did, and he'd been here for over 20 years. He has four kids here, and they're all citizens. They all attend public school, and he has become, a U.S. citizen as well as his wife, and all the kids are citizens. He currently lives in a house on the land that the landlord owns, and he was planning on buying his own house. So, with that being said, some plans for the future is, really an incentive for Americans to learn Spanish and become more knowledgeable of the language, so that Hispanics will feel more at home, more welcomed, and easier to to talk to and communicate with. Um, America should really put their foot down, encouraging Hispanics to become citizens rather than hide and avoid the government because they are illegal. Also, encourage Americans to welcome Hispanics and treat them the same as they would treat someone else of their race or ethnicity. Encourage the Hispanic population to intermingle culturally. Not just be with their culture all the time. Just kind of intermingle and get to know other cultures just like we need to. Also, encourage Americans to intermingle, like I just said. So on the far right here is a graph that I found that was really really interesting, and it dates all the way back to 1950. And what it pretty much says is just kind of shows the ethnic composition, and as a result, as a percentage. And it says that from 1950 till now, well, 2010 is the last time the graph was charted, but since 1960 to 2010, the Hispanic population is nearly quadrupled and is planned on doubling from there. And in 2050, they're expected to be nearly half the population. So, with that being said, without the Hispanic population, our workforce will be in serious danger. Construction, roofing, farming, landscaping, restaurants, and many more other large jobs have a large chunk of Hispanics working. And with the roofing industry leading the way, our country as a whole should come together, accept everyone, because we need the Hispanic population just as much as they need us. Thanks.